Now to a really big question about safety at sea. American vacationers love cruise ships, and the ships themselves have grown to unprecedented size. But safety experts and regulators aren't convinced that bigger is better. Jay Herring is a former Carnival Line senior officer and the author of The Truth About Cruise Ships. Jay, good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. It's great to be here again.
These are like cities on water. When I read the stats, 22 restaurants, half-a-mile track, a zip line, a water park, a casino. How could this possibly be safe, all of this on water?
What's funny, the cruise lines are building a product that passengers want. I mean, if you think about a small town compared to a big city, there's so much more to do in a big city. But to your point, larger ships have larger problems when things go wrong.
Well, I mean, you talk about them building these ships. What's the motivation for them building ships of this size?
Sure. It's cheaper for a group to travel by bus than to take 15 smaller taxis, right? And same with cruising. The reason they build these gigantic ships is because they're far more profitable.
So recently we saw two cruise ships, the Splendor and Triumph. They got a lot of media attention, crippled by onboard fires. Is that the primary problem? And if so, do we have regulations now to help avoid that?
Sure. What's interesting about the Triumph that it happened today as compared to, say, 10 years ago, is today everyone's got a Samsung phone or whatever, taking pictures and video to post all over social media. It's really helped to illuminate the conditions on board during a crisis. But to your point about regulations, so since 2010, all new cruise ships are required to have redundant power systems, so that if one gets knocked out, you can still safely limp back to port.
I'm looking at a picture of this ship. How do you evacuate a ship of that size? I mean, the biggest ships now have, what, 6,000 passengers, 2,000 crews. How do you get people off?
It's crazy. I mean, you think about, compared to a two-story building, a skyscraper takes longer to evacuate, right? But we still build skyscrapers. But no question, evacuating 8,000 passengers is much harder, total people, than much harder than 1,000. And so have you seen these evacuation chutes?
Not on the ships, no.
Yeah, okay, so they're only designed to be used for the crew. And the idea is that it's this giant orange esophagus, right? And you jump into this. It's 5 stories off the water, 50 feet off the water, and you're supposed to slide down this into the life raft. You think about sprained ankles, hard landings, people landing on top of you.
And how many people in that life raft, Jason?
So those life rafts, so the larger cruise ships hold 370 people on the lifeboats, right? All the other ships, typical lifeboats, are about 150.
But my understanding then is that first they have to get all of the people off, most of whom are elderly and children, and then they go down this huge 5-story chute to get on a crammed boat.
Sure. Now, the chutes are only designed for the crew members. all passengers have room on a lifeboat. So that's great if you're a passenger, but I mean, if you're a crew member, good luck. I'm not jumping in there. Are you jumping in there?
No.
I'm not jumping in there.
Well, in desperation, you'll do it. Well, I mean, I've been on an airline chute. I've had to evacuate a plane, so I know. I mean, and those chutes are scary.
And people sprain their ankles on those, and those are half the height of these cruise ship ones.
But are these big ships getting more business?
They are.
Do more people book them?
Yeah, I mean, so you talk about the small town versus a big town. The cruise lines are building a product that passengers love. I mean, they love all the extra options and things that you can do on these larger ships. So yeah, they're staying booked.
Jay Herring, really is interesting stuff. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.